And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Up first for aviation, tomorrow morning's flying weather graphic here showing several areas of IFR out west here. Next front pushing a band eastward into Adak and Atka. Big area of IFR here over the southwest quarter of the state, and up to the north we've got IFR from the Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast and up over the northeast interior, and also IFR here with the clouds and snow pushing into the western Copper River Basin, Talkeetna Mountains, right up to the Alaska Range there, down into western Prince William Sound and portions of the Kenai Peninsula, bracketed by VFR on either side there, and the southeast coast looking good for the afternoon. Improving here over the southeast interior with mostly VFR conditions, Kodiak Island on up. Still IFR to marginal VFR here for the Susitna Valley, the Madanuska Valley, Prince William Sound area, but good VFR, eastern Copper River Basin, right on down the southeast coast. And three areas of IFR. First one up here along the Arctic coast, another one here over the Yukon Delta into Norton Sound and St. Lawrence Island, and the third one right in there coming eastward, spreading into the eastern Aleutians, but lifting north and east of the Adak and Atka area. And for Friday morning, IFR from the Arctic Ocean here across the coast, right on down across all the western part of the state, but marginal down into Bristol Bay, marginal VFR for the Aleutians, Bering Sea, VFR, Alaska Peninsula, Kodiak Island, Cook Inlet, Kenai Peninsula, and into the Copper River Basin there, and also VFR eastward to Yakutat and down across the southeast coast. But then that gives way to pretty rapid deterioration here, as you can see, from morning to afternoon over the southern panhandle, IFR spreading in with the next system, covering the Gulf of Alaska, IFR over the east and northeast interior, better conditions back to the west, mostly VFR, Susitna Valley, right on down into the Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet area, Bristol Bay, Kodiak Island VFR for the afternoon Friday, as well as the eastern Aleutians and Atka Island. And for the passes, Anatufik and Adigan, IFR in the forecast for both of those areas tomorrow. In fact, much of the Brooks Range in the IFR zone. Lake Clark and Merrill, marginal VFR. Rainy IFR. IFR for Windy, Isabel, but Mentasta looks more on the marginal side. And then back to IFR for Tanita and IFR for Portage. Chilkoot and White, marginal VFR. Freezing levels here, 2 to 4,000 feet for the eastern North Gulf Coast, as well as the southeast coast there. And at the surface here, south of St. Matthew Island, but north of the Pribilofs again, and 2,000 feet way down to the south of Adak and Atka. And then for icing, a band of light to isolated moderate icing coming eastward here with that system out over the Bering Sea and the central Aleutians. Possible areas of isolated moderate rime or mixed icing for the North Slope and Arctic coast. Heavier icing possible here. Could be considerable moderate maybe up along Montague Island into western Prince William Sound. Eastern Kenai Peninsula there into Turnagain Arm, maybe the Chugach Mountains eastward, north of Girdwood. And then the other area though way down to the south. And looking at the 33,000 foot wind flow chart, very sharp trough right through this area over the western interior to the east of that feature, south to north flow anywhere from 50 to 65 knots. And then on the back side, northerly flow 50 to 65 knots right along the west coast down to the Alaska Peninsula, and stronger northwest jet here just grazing the western Aleutians. At 9,000 feet, westerly winds, west-northwest winds 30 to 40 knots over the western Bering Sea, and northerlies here 30 to 45 knots, strongest along the Alaska Peninsula there in toward just areas just west of Kodiak Island, light up over the northern interior, and then southeast winds up to 50 knots right along the North Gulf Coast. Turbulent, 3,000 feet, 55 knot winds here over the Gulf of Alaska, stretching up toward the eastern North Gulf Coast areas. Northwest 45 on the backside of this low through the Kamishak Bay area, Barren Islands, Also 45 knot north-northwest winds for the Alaska Peninsula, subsiding as you head north here to about 20 knots there over Kotzebue Sound. And for turbulence, considerable moderate turbulence for Kodiak Island into Cook Inlet, the Kenai Peninsula, Prince William Sound, and the North Gulf Coast to about Yakutat. Otherwise, light to isolated moderate turbulence here from the Seward Peninsula right on down to the Alaska Peninsula.